All right.
Okay.
Look at all this technology.
You got the main video going.
You fired up?
There we go.
I'm fired up.
Fired up.
Here we go. We got Crucible TV coming at you once again. Episode number 2 since we restarted it. And I don't know if you have looked over here to my left, these good-looking dudes over here. We have some special guests from across the world today.
Sir.
Across the world. We got Tunnah and Matt Williams. They are some pro and international rugby coaches. And they're here to kind of talk to us about mindset and challenges and what it takes. Sorry, I'm done man-spreading. They're here to talk about mindset and that cherish the challenge mindset and what it takes to be successful at the pro level and what they're looking for in an athlete, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, all those things put together. So, Neil, yeah, man, we got to meet about 2, maybe 3 years ago.
Not 3 years now.
Yeah, 3 years ago, and when I was training the Mount St. Mary's rugby team, the year that we ended up winning the national championship, and I was just astounded. Like I was taken back by, we just clicked right off the bat. Like our energies, we're both extremely good looking.
That goes without saying, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's an obvious thing. We got big biceps, you know what I'm saying? So,
credibility's in trouble.
yeah. But so Neil, tell us a little bit about you. Just introduce our people to Neil Tunnah.
Yeah, Scottish originally, brought up just south of Edinburgh, moved to Australia 10 years ago, and that's when I guess my rugby career or coaching career really kicked off down there. Married an Aussie girl when I was down there, 2 beautiful young daughters as well, and 2 years ago we found ourselves an opportunity to travel back to the Northern Hemisphere and work for a professional team in England. Jumped at it, moved across the world in 4 weeks, made the decision, packed up, got rid of the house, moved up 4 weeks later, and yeah, we've been up here since then. Been working with Mount St. Mary's now for 5 years. Like you said there, we met in Colorado in 2016. We'd been with them 2015 with them out a little bit, and 2014 was the first time we met Coach Jay Miles up in Emmitsburg. So, in short, that's me.
I love it.
Awesome.
Talk to me real fast. 4 weeks up, gone. What was that like?
It's difficult to describe it. To be honest, it was chaos. Interviewed for the job, had a second interview 2 days later, and they said they wanted me there sort of 4 or 5 weeks after that. And sat down with Sarah, my wife, and said, "Listen, this is the opportunity. What do you think?" And to her credit, she went, "Yep, bang, let's go for it." So that support was really important that came from her, and she understands what we were trying to do. She's a bit of a nomad as well. She's adventurous. She was keen for it. And kids are at an age now where we can pack them up and go, no high school or anything.
Yeah.
So it's been exciting. It's been real challenging.
Awesome.
And, really
Awesome.
exciting.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And I tell you, I had a kind of similar experience with my wife when I said, "Hey, I'm going to start a gym. What do you think?" She said, "Okay, let's go." And when you are lined up with that divine purpose of yours, some of those decisions get a little bit easier. It's still not easy, but
when you've got that support, it's really important. It's really important to have that support behind you.
I love it. Man, that's awesome. The big guy down at the end, we just got through. Let me tell you this. We just went through the Armageddon workout. We had to look good for camera, right? About an hour and 1,000 reps of arms. And this guy down on the end, sneaky. He was ripping it up in here. Matt,
He's a shark.
He is.
He's a
Can
shark.
you talk to us a little bit about your background? What are you doing, man?
Mate, I'm very fortunate. I was a teacher by training, but I did teach only for a few years in Sydney, Australia, where I was born and bred. And played a lot of rugby all my life from the time I was 6, and loved it. And we went professional in 1995, and I was just very fortunate. I just finished playing. I was coaching my club, and became a professional. And I was sort of Johnny on the spot. And a couple of years later, I was at 36 years of age. I was coaching the Waratahs, which is one of the biggest professional teams in the world, biggest teams in the world who had just gone professional. And had 4 years there, and then I was very fortunate to go over to Ireland, coach Leinster, which is one of the top clubs in Europe now. We weren't there, we had to fight our way up the ladder. The club's in great shape now. And then I had coaches, and that sort of helped me go to Ulster, and I was very fortunate to coach the Scottish national team, the Six Nations, and do some touring with them. It's interesting, I was coaching Scotland and toured Australia as an Australian touring my own country as a head of coach, which was pretty bizarre. And I also did some coaching over in France. So I'm really fortunate. I've sort of been coming over here to this part of the world again through Neil, who we work with in Australia, and meeting up with Jay and Mount St. Mary's and yourself, Ryan, here at the Crucible and so on. It's just I'm really fortunate. I say to my kids, I haven't worked in 25 years because I just love what I do here every day. Every day is not work. It's just getting up and doing what you're passionate about.
Man, we hear that, don't we?
Oh,
we hear that.
Absolutely, get to do something we love every single day. So, oh my goodness, and you hear a lot of experience on the biggest stages, and that's why I'm always excited, but I'm extra excited today because we get to pick the brains and get into that mindset on a world stage. We're not just talking like best in your town or best in your area. We're talking about the best in the entire world that we're talking with here, which is pretty amazing. So our big phrase here, our big saying, it's on our bands, it's on T-shirts. Yeah, oh, there it is.
Oh, there it is.
Oh,
Got
look at
one.
that. We got it.
I'll get Matt one.
Yeah, we did.
He's got to earn his band.
I think
He's got to earn his band.
I just buried all you guys in the gym.
Cheers to Charlie.
I think he did it. He did earn it today.
He earned it, 1,000 reps.
He earned
it. Those single arm chin-ups.
That's why I'm sitting down. I can't stand up.
But our big saying there, like Neil said, was cherish the challenge.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of challenges are you seeing some of the athletes having? Let's say they're going from high school or their school to making that next jump into the professional ranks. Like, what are the biggest challenges they're facing?
The team that I'm working with just now, Ryan, where we sit is we're very much a development program. So the program's designed to push players to the level above us. So we sit, it's effectively Division 2 in England, and the next step is the Premiership and then international rugby. So we're trying to nurture some talent there, push it into the Premiership and give it a chance of pushing up to international rugby. The challenge is teaching them how to be good professionals. So bringing them in and educating them on everything from how hard you have to work on and off the field. We talk a lot about the 22-hour athletes, so we'll have them for 2 hours a day on field. What are they doing the 22 hours that they're not on field with us?
I love that.
So we speak a lot about that and the mindset that's required there, the positive approach to work and hard work, and when they go and get stuff coming together and rallying together to again go and achieve something as an individual that benefits the group. So there's some real challenges there, but teaching them to be professionals is ultimately what it's all about at our level.
Oh, that is huge.
I love it.
We always talk to our guys in here. There's 168 hours in a week, and we get kids in here maybe for 1 or 2 hours, and that's not going to be enough to get you to that next level.
No.
You got 166, 167 more hours in a week.
Yeah.
Kind of the same mindset. Like, what are you using that time for? And that's going to be the most important time. Absolutely. Most important time.
Absolutely. So, Matt, the ones that make it to that next level, that have come through a program like this, they make it to that international. What is that? Is there that thing that you can point to and say, man, that's what sets them apart?
Well, the two best players I've coached are Brian O'Driscoll and David Campese, and they're legendary players, all-time great players. And they're the two hardest workers I've ever coached. So work ethic has a lot to do with basically what Neil said. And that's not, working out 15 hours a day. It's like they work very hard, but they know how to recover. Their diet's very good. It's a lot of the things that have nothing to do with talent. Being on time and early. There's a 15-90 rule. We say if you do 15 minutes extra work every day, that's 90 hours a year. If you can just stay, a little bit after training, 15 minutes, and just do those work lots of things you're at over a year, that's 90 hours of training.
Wow.
So it's all those little things that are off the park. I'd also say that a lot of the most talented guys don't make it because they've been so talented as kids in high school programs. They think that's just that's going to get them through, and it's not, because the funnel gets so tight at the top end. You've got to be having those extra things that move you into those systems, and the mental strength and the mental side of the game. I think a lot of high school kids or kids coming out of universities underestimate. It's a lot of resilience. There is going to be failure in professional sport. There is going to be failure. It's not a normal life.
No, sir.
You've got to be, you've got to be obsessive about it. You've got to have a bit of that obsession about it. Everyone, when we all sit down and talk, all of a sudden you all start realizing we all got some of that obsessive behaviours.
Little cray in there.
And obsessive in a nice way. But, you're passionate about it and you love it. But it's also, it's a funny one. Like in Australia, Christmas is summer, and I used to always get up on Christmas morning and go train. I just think no one else is training Christmas morning. I'm the only one training. And when we actually all started coming together, we're older. all of us training Christmas mornings because everyone that made it was thinking the same thing.
Trying to get that.
So there was like hundreds of guys training Christmas morning thinking they're the only one.
That's all right. Hey,
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty sick puppies, you know.
but that's good, though.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it is. It's that relentless pursuit.
Yeah.
How do I get that? We talk about 1% better.
Yeah.
You know, how do I just get 1% better every day? If I just do that one more thing, that 1% each and every day.
That's massive. Some of the challenges you face, certainly we face every week. As the season goes on, we've got a 47-week pre-season and competition now. So it's a long season. And what happens in the dark months where you've got short daylight, you've got lots of rain, lots of wind, how do we motivate the guys, or how do they motivate themselves to still get through that extra 15 minutes when the weather's rubbish and they'd rather be sitting on the bum inside drinking coffee? So it's trying to educate them how important that time is and give them that drive and self-belief that if they get through that work, it's going to help them get to where they want to go.
I think if we talk about mindset, you know, it's some guys come out and, you know, you've got Joey's, you know, really big man, great physique and all that. And someone like me that's a smaller guy would think, I can never be that, how can I do it? And it's not about comparing yourself to others. It's about making yourself a better version of you the next day. So tomorrow, you know, like tomorrow I want to be a better version of me the next day. So you've got this incremental growth. It's not, oh, well, I want to, you know, he's doing this. It's what are you doing? What small measures can you put in place? Are you getting enough sleep? You know, you're doing your recovery. And then it's the other side, you know, are you being a good family member? Are you happy in your life? Are you sorting out, you know, the physical, mental, spiritual, social, you know, are you keeping everything in balance, or are you just this lunatic sportsman? Because eventually you'll fail. Eventually something will give in that. So it's all these other little balances and making you move, progress, and move forward.
Man, I hope you all just tuned in.
This
on
is
that.
really valuable here.
Like that is
really valuable.
That's some big time wisdom there, you know. And I think so many times people are looking for that. They talk about like a work-life balance or whatever that is. And I think, like, I don't know if it's a true balance, but when you are with family, you're with family.
Yeah.
Like we talk about being where your feet are.
Yeah.
Like if you're at home, be at home.
Yeah.
Like if I'm here with you guys, like I am
We're
here. But if you're training, you better be training.
Yeah.
You know, that
Yeah.
sort
Yeah.
of thing.
Absolutely.
So
That's living in the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's that balance, that living in the moment. But you've got to give that, particularly with home life. You've got to have that balance there. If you go home and you're on your phone constantly, then you're not there. Then your wife picks up on that, and your kids eventually pick up on it, and it's a real challenge.
The key relationships in your life.
Yeah.
We've spoken, we're all guilty of, you know, not doing that, not
absolutely.
leaving it at the door, taking it in, and
amen.
you know, you haven't been able to park that. You're in the house, but you're somewhere else.
Yeah.
And that's going to happen. But and that doesn't mean you're a failure. It just means you've got to be aware of it. How do you change it? How do you sort of where do you find the time to relax, to recover, to decompress?
Yeah.
You know, and it sounds like a lot of tripe, but I'm a great believer in, you know, that there's some form of meditation, some form of mindfulness, even if it's just for a short periods, 10 minutes, you know, in a day. Those things where you just stop and everything else falls. And there's some great apps out there that athletes can get. There's one called Smiling Mind, which was produced by some guys in Australia, and you can download it. It's free, and it's given as a service to help people just cope with daily life.
Yeah.
And they take you through like 6 and 7 minutes form of relaxation meditation. Really, really good app. I tell all my young athletes to download it and do it. And it's just about, again, trying to keep that balance and keeping it through.
Hey.
What percentage of that business do you own, Mike?
We're getting plugs in.
Yes. In my business career, seeing it's free. Probably.
Sponsored ad.
Probably not the greatest thing.
Sponsored. I didn't know that. You know, so now that's awesome. So here in America right now, one of the biggest distractions we have, just let's talk distractions, are like video games and like cell phones and like just being here.
Yeah.
You know, what are some of the big distractions you're seeing at university or even at the pro level? Like because distractions can change as you grow. You know,
Something we speak about this quite a lot, Mike. You know, when we started speaking back in, I think it's probably 2014 or 15 about it in detail, is the way kids are brought up now is very different. So the way they're educated is different. We as kids would leave school and you'd be out with your friends after climbing trees or playing footy in the park, and it's all these biomechanical things that are subconsciously are building skill and movement.
Yeah.
Kids aren't doing that anymore. So the way we coach and train movement, and you guys will have a first-hand experience on this, has changed. We're actually having to coach movement patterns that we never had to coach before, or you would never had to coach when we were young. The flip side of that is, and there's some articles just now that I'll send over to you. There's one on Fortnite in particular. That there's a study on Fortnite that's saying that kids are so into it and they're using it as a communication tool now that coaches should learn how to use it in a way that builds communication with their athletes. So there's some studies in that. I'll send the links across to you and you can check them out there. But it's really interesting that balance between getting on their level but still developing in the way the sport needs to develop. So it's really interesting.
I still think kids, I think there's massive challenges. I agree with them, massive challenge of technology. Kids still dream. Kids still have heroes. I was certainly motivated by a group of heroes when I was a little boy. I wanted to be like them. And so you went out and played, and that's something I'd say to young guys: just get out and play. You have to do deliberate practice all the time. Get a group of friends and play. Have fun. Whether it's baseball, around, it's rugby or soccer or whatever it is, tennis, just hit a ball against the wall. But play and set aside time to do that, to get out and do it. Yeah, there's deliberate practice as you get older. And the other thing I'd say to young guys: play a lot of games. There's a lot of studies saying that we're specialising too early. If you can you play the sport you love, for sure. But if there's other sports, and when you're especially young, they really help you as you come through. It's a great challenge. But again, if you fall in love with your sport, which is, if you're going to make it, you've got to fall in love with it. And that's a relationship, and you've got to find time in your life for that relationship. Just like any relationship, wherever, if you find a girlfriend, you fall in love with her, and you've got to find time to have her there. If you love sport, you've got to find time to put that in your life. But my family knows that they're second. They're not really, but they say, well, nobody does. I love it. And you do have to do that. And that's a nice thing. I feel really fortunate that I've got something I love in my life. Because it links you in a community. Like me and Nerlin, we've been mates for a long time, and you meet all these great people. I've got a community everywhere around the world I go because of the sport I love, and I've been really fortunate to have that. That's not a burden.
I love that. So tell me, keying in on this, I think one of the biggest words that you just said in there was play. No pressure. Play, enjoy. I think that's one of the things we see a lot is just this amount. No matter anytime you're playing baseball or rugby or whatever it is, pressure, and it's like I got to do this right, and then there's a fear of failure. Right. I think it's so important to be able to challenge each other and just go play, try something new without the fear of messing up.
I think coaches of kids have a responsibility to the sport in that sense as well. There's far too many coaches of kids who are sort of 12 and under that are coaching to win. And it shouldn't be about coaching to win at that age. It should be about coaching for enjoyment and get the kids having fun and enjoying coming to practice. When they jump in the car after training, they're jumping into the car and they're telling mum and dad, oh, that was so much fun. Rather than we had to do this weekend because this is what we need to do to win. It doesn't really matter winning at that age. What matters is having fun and learning a sport and the social side of it and everything that goes along with that.
The natural competitors or competitiveness will come out. But you're right. When we were kids, we used to have fun imitating our heroes. Pretending to be them, and my brothers and I would always commentate the games we were playing in, like you'd be the commentator and you're just having fun. But you were trying to be your hero and do all the skills that they did. And what we didn't know is we were actually learning some of those skills. Because in our game it's using your footwork and using the ball and all that. And we would laugh so much, but it was actually really good training for us as we were growing up.
Absolutely. Did you have anybody that you as a kid that you pretend to hit? I used to pretend to hit Ken Griffey.
You had to. Even if you weren't left-handed like Griffey, you tried to imitate his stance. He was always one of those.
Jeff Bagwell,
Gary Sheffield.
There's a couple of those stances out there that you try to force around.
They're unusual.
But you had to do it.
You had to do it.
Let me ask you guys this, just coming from a baseball background, how important in rugby is having that short-term memory? In baseball, you're flat out not going to have it one game. no matter how hard you try, you're going to stink it up that day. And how important in rugby is it to kind of have that mindset of, man, today just wasn't my day, made a lot of mistakes. Like, how important is it to make adjustments for the next day in match?
It's massive. Like, the games, we've got to remember where the games came from. They actually sort of came out as educational places to teach young people about life. So failure is set up within all the games. There's a winner and a loser. You get 3 strikes, you're out. You're not going to hit every ball. That's just reality.
Just the way it is.
And our game is actually structured that you'll never master it. You'll never master the whole game. You'll never be a perfect game. And that's to take you away and reflect, but also to be determined and say, well, I'm coming back the next day. I'm coming back the next day. One of the biggest things I think mistakes I made for many years was I was such a bad loser. You would hang on to the pain of that loss for way too long. I look back on it, it was really counterproductive. Really counterproductive. Like the golfer that does the bad shot.
I think we've all made those mistakes.
Yeah,
we all have.
All competitors.
Especially in baseball. Baseball you get 4 at-bats or 5 at-bats a game. Your first at-bat, you might strike out. And a lot of kids, what I'm seeing, especially at a young age, is if they strike out their first at-bat, if they fail, they're done for the rest of the game sometimes. And they have 2 or 3 more opportunities in that particular game to be successful. So does it kind of work the same in rugby?
For sure.
You make a really bad mistake one play, and I mean, you just gotta. It's over.
Particularly as you go from that youth age and then they start moving into professional sport, the turnaround time, so the feedback loop, the individual self-reflection, that has to happen at real-time speed. As you become professional and you're operating at that level, there's a poor decision and the pass hits the ground. Well, the next time you've got to be able to make an adjustment so it doesn't. And that next time might happen in 3 seconds, it might happen in 30 seconds. So how you run your feedback loop inside your head, so what you're saying to yourself is extremely important when you're playing under pressure at high speed.
Self-talk.
It's huge.
And there's a cue to reset. Well, the greatest sporting team in the world, one of the greatest, New Zealand All Blacks. And each guy has his own reset action. So if there's an error or breakdown, each guy has something that means something to one guy looks at the sky, another guy adjusts his socks, another guy stamps their feet. And that's just, okay, I'm resetting, back on mission here. And the self-talk is huge, where people just keep beating themselves up, and it's counterproductive. But again, it's a skill that we've got to teach now that probably we didn't have to teach 20 years ago. But I think our knowledge of sports psychology has improved so much that we can. Most athletes hear sports psychologists and go, "Well, I'm dodging that. He thinks I'm nuts." Whereas it's something we all.
That can be breathing.
Absolutely.
100%.
Especially at the professional level. You're playing 100, 140, 160 games a season. That's a lot of at bats you have, and you have to have that reset of let's do it. It's like that mental reset, the mental cues. It's something as easy as a deep breath. When you're hitting or you're pitching, or
it's a heart rate back down, allows you to reset and focus, doesn't it?
Century
it does.
We take a couple of breaths. There's a great big wave surfer in Hawaii, Lard Hamilton. Very famous guy. He's one of his great mantras that he's now actually teaching is this breathing, breath of life. How they breathe and oxygenating the blood through the breath and how you reset it. It's
very great stuff. This is awesome stuff, guys. This is awesome.
Some great words. You imagine a 60-foot wave of guys. He's got it started from him having to teach himself to hold his breath. Literally under the water, hold his breath, and how he's changed and moved that onto land and teaching. It's really fascinating.
The other great thing with team sport there is whether you've got a 15-man team or a 25-man team, you've got teammates there that can help you reset as well. So you've got your positive self-talk. There's also the talk that comes from your teammates that can have a positive or negative effect on that. So if Ryan, for example, steps up to bat and he misses and he's striking you out, if you've got a teammate that steps up and says, "What are you doing, mate? What, that's rubbish." Like the next time you come up, you're going to go, "Oh no, that first game was rubbish." So and it can have a knock-on effect.
That's what
Whereas
you
if we
said
step up
earlier.
and say, hey, yeah, but that's true.
I love it.
But the next time you step up, if I come back to you with something technical, like raise your right elbow, I've spotted your elbow's dropped or whatever it may be technically, if I give you a technical point to work on, you're more likely to get success rather than be taken out of the game for 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's huge. So your teammates can help you through that process.
I know the Lakers in the 90s used to have a saying that I've adopted, which is just play the next minute.
Yeah.
Play the next
Next minute.
You know, so in our game, like a basketball game, you know, it's a set period of time. I know it's different for baseball.
Yeah.
But ours is 80 minutes long, so you've got 80 lots of 1 minute.
Yeah.
Just play that minute. Just play that 60 seconds. Get to the next 60 seconds. Play the next 60 seconds. You know, don't look too far apart, further or back. Just be here.
Yeah.
One thing, one of my college coaches at Concord University, he had a saying of win the pitch.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many. There's probably 200 pitches, 250 pitches throughout a baseball game. If you lock in and you focus on winning that particular pitch, then you focus on the next one.
Yeah,
Win that pitch,
yeah.
then the next one. Win that pitch.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
do whatever it takes for that one play,
Yeah.
and then it's over.
Yeah.
And then you reset. You got the next pitch. You're ready to go.
You're in the moment. aren't
You are.
Well,
You're in
that's
the
it.
moment.
We spoke about living in the moment before. Let's play it in the moment, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You can
Because
do that.
a game can breathe. If you're not focused that one pitch,
Yeah.
a game flies by in the blink of an eye, and you're like, "What the heck happened?"
Yeah.
You know, and it's like
Yeah.
that's going to be a really, really probably bad game for you
Yeah.
individually.
Yeah.
Something to tell youth athletes, as youth coaches, giving them a strategy around that can have a massive impact on the development and growth over a period of time.
Absolutely cool. Because you can take that same idea and apply it to just not even to sports, but your life.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we all know we're going to face challenges.
Yeah.
We know we're going to make stupid decisions. You know, we're going to have things that don't go our way. How do we deal with it?
Embrace
Right?
it.
Yeah, absolutely. We can embrace it. And we're going to live. We each get 24 hours in a day, right? Live it minute by minute.
Yeah.
Oops, I made a bad decision. Next minute, let's come up with another good one.
Yeah.
So we talk about challenges, right?
Yeah.
How important do you feel that being challenged is to your development as a rugby player or as a person? You know, our big belief. Well, here, I don't want to throw my stuff in. How important do you feel challenges are, and being challenged to truly fully develop to your fullest potential?
It's a very interesting question. I think that you have a whole lot of challenges in life over all those areas. You know, I think you can't have this concept that you have when you're young that once I get that contract, I'll be fine. Or once I'm 25, that'll be all different. Or once, because it's not, life just keeps going on.
Yeah.
You know, life just keeps going. It's the sudden end and the stop that we want to avoid.
Yeah, that's right, that's right.
Hope it keeps going on. But for me, you know, like I've felt as I've got older that I've got to stay physically really healthy, or I won't be able to cope with those challenges.
Yeah.
So the first thing is looking after your physical health is a challenge, and if you're physically healthy, then you address your mental health, and then that moves on to all the other healths in your life, whether it's financial health, the healthy relationships, the healthy what you're doing through there, and then you look at some specific challenge, be it business or sport or whatever they are, and that's how you grow. And all of us, at the beginning of those, I shouldn't say all of us, most of us feel we're not up to that challenge, that somehow that challenge is beyond our capabilities. And of course, once you achieve it, you look back and you go, wow, how did I do that? And therefore you realize it wasn't really that big. And what's the next one? Yeah. And, you know, the first time I coached the Waratahs, I remember sitting in the car beforehand and they come to training and just thinking, Williams, what have you done? And you're going to coach the Waratahs, you're going to get found out here, this is going to sit you know, you're coming to one of the great teams, you know. And now I can walk in the day and go, hi guys, hurry up, let's get going. You know, but the first time you think it's insurmountable, and it's not. And that's again that growth that you as a person as you move through.
Self-doubt. Yeah, self-doubt's massive, isn't it?
Yeah, and the same other side of that is if you hide in a comfort zone, eventually in your heart of hearts late at night in your own bed, you start wishing you would.
Yeah.
You start with, I'm going to try this. It just takes courage, and courage, you know, definition is the ability to overcome fear. It's not fearless.
Yeah.
It's having the ability to overcome the fear as you move through it. It's, once you do it once, you can do it again and again. That's where sport's so great.
Absolutely.
It teaches us how to do that, and we can mirror that into life.
Oh,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
sure.
Whew, that's some
Man.
gold right there. That was some gold here. I'm going to pop down here and see if there's any questions popping through here. I don't even know who all's on here. The big tuna. You're getting called out there. The big tuna. Let's see what we got going on. Let's see anybody.
15 people that came from.
Tyler Miles. How did we get to land Robbie Redford? No. How do we get Robbie Redford?
Star in the house.
We got some yo-yos. What's
training with him later on? It's going to be 3 hours.
I love that. We got some Maggie Miles on. So some of the questions here, I'm going to re-straighten this back up, getting everybody in this frame. Some of the questions popping along on there.
Let's see what we got.
Oh, yeah, I was going to see if you got any
Go ahead.
questions
Go
up there.
ahead.
Was talking about just that cherish challenge mindset. So I think we covered a lot of what it is that we were hoping to cover and what they were wanting to cover. Any final thoughts? Any final things that, like, man, if I could impart one thing on you as far as if you want to be successful, and this is a huge question just to throw on. There's a big, but I always like to give people the opportunity. It's like, man, if I could leave you with one thing, this is something I challenge myself with. I always try to challenge myself to go deep and reflect in myself. And if I was on my deathbed and I was writing a letter, and I've physically done this before. I physically put music on, wrote a letter to my family that I didn't even have yet, and said, this is what I'm excited that we were able to do, and this is what I want you to know. Is there something?
I think there's probably one thing I can give you here from my perspective, and I'll go back to when we were in the recruitment phase in rugby, and like it's back to a little bit about what Matt said before around skill and talent and that side of things. There's sort of three things that I would look for are a work ethic, coachability. So how does a player engage in the feedback process, and then also provide challenge around that so that you can have discussion. And are they a good person? So we'll look inside them and have a look. Are you a good person? So what are they going to be like to work with? What kind of teammate are they going to be? So for young athletes, yes, your skill is important. Yes, it's important that you have a little bit of talent probably. But those three things for me, they're the first things that I'll go to. They're the things that I want to look at and see. And what's this person going to be like to work with? How are they going to engage in the process of achieving their goals?
Yeah. Oh, man, that's
awesome.
That's some gold.
Yeah.
Robbie?
Yeah, I think I don't use that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Robbie Redford. He's made a lot of movies in his time. He's made a lot of money.
That's what I'm still patient. I'd come at it a different way. Not totally the same as Neil, but with the same outcome. Most sporting organisations now have a saying that good people make good team members. So they're hiring on character first, and on athletic ability second. So if you're a great athlete, but you're a horrid human being, you don't get on with your teammates, you're not prepared to put the team first in your setting, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it. And I think that's becoming a lot more in life, out in corporate life as well, that where corporates are now looking much more for team engagement and people that want to be part of an organisation, not just a selfish individual. And I think that's the way we recruit. We say, well, let's look at the character we bring up their coaches. What are they like? How do they take feedback? What sort of person are they? What are they like in training? Are they hard work? What are they like in school? Are they good to other people? They're bullies. Will they know? Are they team? All those things. And you've got to get through all those before we say, well, how's his rugby? So I think that would be to me, that's the key to success at the other end of it too. To be proud of what you've done at the end of the day.
And we talk about creating servant leaders here.
Yeah.
So constantly serving people. If you want to be first, you're last.
Yeah.
So if you're going to lead, it's how can I relentlessly serve somebody? And try to take care of them.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting because the two forms of leadership. That I always remember. Harry Truman said he put America on a leash like a dog and dragged it forward. And Nelson, because that was the leadership that was required at the time. And Nelson Mandela said he was like a shepherd. He stood behind his people. He knew the mountain they had to get to, but they had to get there in their own time.
Yeah.
So it's that's a real example of servant leadership. But there are other examples sometimes that in sport you've got to drag forward as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going out on a limb here, but I think I'm going to know the answer. The two you said you had two greatest athletes you ever coached. Would they fall into this servant leader relentlessly, working hard, good character people?
David Campese was just a phenomenal athlete. David was a difficult person, but he gave to the team.
Okay.
Yeah, he gave to the team. He had very, very high standards, and if you weren't up to those standards, he'd let you know. But and Brian would be the same, but Brian was a much gentler, easier guy, nice guy to get along with.
Yeah.
But I think there's also a thing when you cross the stripe, the normal rules of society don't apply.
Yes, I would agree.
So you cross that stripe, you're out there, you're a competitor, and you've got demands and standards.
Yes.
And those guys would keep you as a coach at those standards. If they felt you as a coach had dropped below what they thought, or it was doing something that was inhibiting, they'd let you know pretty quick.
Yeah.
And that's difficult with everyone because our communication with each other is so blunt.
Yeah.
Sure. We communicate very bluntly, and we love it a bit. And that's what forms such lifelong bonds.
Yeah.
And of course, we don't sort of sugarcoat things. We sort of go straight into it really hard.
Yeah.
And I you sort of sometimes come out in the north, so people don't do that. Your honesty can be a bit blunt,
Sure.
But those two guys, they were just really, really gave everything for their team.
Team first guys. Yeah. How about that? Man,
Awesome stuff.
Any final thoughts?
Man, that was deep.
That's a lot. I mean,
That was a lot.
you could take the fundamentals of this, and if you wanted to create a multi-million-dollar business, you could take the fundamentals of that. If you want to be a great athlete, if you want to be a great dad, a great mother, you take the fundamentals of what we're just hearing here. You just take that out, you're going to be a world-class person. We just got to hear some world-class information. So, man, thank you so much for coming all the way out here. Man. This was awesome. I'll tell you what, man, that is some great info there. We appreciate it. So, again, every Friday, 12:30, right here on either Facebook or on Instagram. And then Coach Joe, he's got Instagram going on over there. So be sure to tune in every Friday, 12:30. We're rocking, we're rolling. Thanks again, guys. Thank you. Hey, Coach Jesse back there getting his curls in.
Yeah, Armageddon.
I love it.
Armageddon.
I love that. Love you guys. God bless y'all. I love it. See ya.